Hello fellow mutants, welcome back to another video, and in this video, I'm joined by my handsome little boy here, Nemo. And if you guys couldn't tell by the thumbnail, if you guys couldn't tell by the title, and if you guys couldn't tell by my shirt, I'm going to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. And just in case if I forget to put this part in the title of this video, this will be spoilers. So if you guys don't want to be spoiled, then don't watch this video until you finally watch No Way Home. That said, spoiler warning dropped. Here we go. So Spider-Man No Way Home is the third installment in the Tom Holland Spider-Man, and it picks up like right after the last movie, Far From Home, ended, with Mysterio revealing to the world that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And we get this opening scene where essentially Spider-Man, or Peter, whatever, takes MJ and swings her away from this crowd that is bombarding them. And then we get the whole part where it says, dude, and that kind of did remind me of like the whole Star Wars Episode 9 bit. They can fly now? Like, I'm not saying that teenagers wouldn't do that, but I'm in that camp that was kind of expecting Peter and MJ to take this a bit seriously. You know, Peter at least, a bit more seriously than saying, dude! Going back and forth with his best friend saying, dude! You know, but that's just me. Because if I was a vigilante any vigilante, my identity just got revealed, I wouldn't be calling my brother or one of my best friends saying, dude! And having this dude contest. I'd be panicking. But that's just me. So pretty much, Spider-Man, or Peter said, or it's Ned. I think it's Ned. Peter's Ned and Mary Jane, or MJ, because she's not Mary Jane. I think they finally confirmed what MJ stands for in this movie. It was called Michelle Jones. But MJ, those three apply for colleges, but they get turned down because Mysterio revealing that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And before that, there are people who constantly watches Peter. There's even this part where Peter and got sent down to this police precinct, and as he gets interrogated, he sees Aunt May, Ned, and MJ getting taken down, and MJ and Aunt May said, and I quote, "Don't tell them anything," and that was pretty funny. And then they go back to their apartment to Happy's, I just shouldn't say their apartment, because at this time, they figured it would be too dangerous staying at their own apartment. So they go to Happy's apartment. If you guys don't remember who Happy is, for some reason at this point, Happy, played by Jon Favreau, who's also who also is the head of Star Wars Mandalorian. Happy was Tony Stark's bodyguard. And so yeah, they go to his apartment and as a safe house until this thing blows over. So I actually forget now if it was at Happy's apartment are at Aunt May's apartment when we see the lawyer for Peter Parker. And long behold, John can't be out with his leaks where he watermarked those leaks were 110% right about who his lawyer is. This is a spoiler video, so I am safe to say who it is because I gave you guys that warning ahead of time. It's not that. It's Daredevil. Matthew Murdock. Matthew Murdock is Peter Parker's lawyer. And it's not any type of just random old actor playing Matthew Murdock. It's not Ben Affleck playing Matthew Murdock. It's Charlie Cox. It's Charlie Cox who plays Matthew Murdock. And those of you who doesn't know, it's the Netflix version of Daredevil. And I was like, oh! And I watched the newest episode of Hawkeye yesterday, I believe, or 2 days ago. Within the last 2 days of me recording this video. And they even teased the Kingpin. For the Kingpin, like the same actor who played the Kingpin from the Netflix Daredevil show. And I was like, oh yes, finally the Netflix shows are finally getting the respect that they so deserve. Like, and before I get into more of the movie, I do hope we will see Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. Like, I hope we see them in the future of the MCU, and the same actors who play them. Now, since we're dealing with the multiverse, would I be okay if it's like, if they don't make like really any like sort of puns to like their Netflix shows? Yes and no. Yes, only because we finally get to see the Netflix actors reprising their roles as their characters. And the no part, I would be only because I would like to see the Defenders universe, as I like to call the Netflix Marvel shows, which they had a show called Defenders, which was a team up of Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Daredevil. I would enjoy them like making nods to their respective shows as respect if they're gonna be like as prominent as like Iron Man or Spider-Man or Captain America in the MCU from now on. I would like to have a nod to that. But that's just me. And who knows, maybe their shows will get picked back up now. Who knows? But moving forward, I thought it was cool. Now, I was on the stream yesterday, and some people said Daredevil wasn't really needed part of the story. They could have had any other lawyer, and with that, I will agree with. Daredevil, the character Daredevil, or Matt Murdock, he was exactly quote-unquote needed for the story per se, but I'm so glad he was part of it because he made like people like me more invested into the story, and I am fully aware that was fan service. Especially, I can't use my left hand because my cat. Especially when like the object came and did ooh, not today. Like he was able to catch this like rock before hitting Peter. Which Peter's tingle didn't give him any warnings whatsoever. And I thought that was such a badass scene. So, do I agree that the way they used the Daredevil in here, was he really needed part of the story? Not exactly. But it was really cool to see him in this movie. Hands down, hands down. You're not going to hear any complaints from me. Seeing Daredevil in there made me so happy. I nearly yelled out saying, "Yeah!" But then I was like, "Oh, back, Phil! Oh, back!" Because I was with friends and didn't want to embarrass them by nerding out, you know? And so, long story short, Peter, after they move into Happy's apartment, let me get a swig of root beer for the rookie man. I'll use this as a jump cut. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I guess 1 second of jump cut for you guys, which was like 10 seconds for me. So yeah, after they go to the Happy's apartment, and after the whole Peter, MJ, and Ned getting rejected into the college they want, Peter goes to Doctor Strange. The the magic of magic. I don't know what Doctor Strange house is called. I know I nerded out when I saw that building in the PS4 Spider-Man game, which you guys can see if you guys want, because I streamed that game on my channel. Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome seeing in the game. But anyways, getting back to subject. Sorry if I'm all over the place. Pretty much, Peter goes see Doctor Strange. Say, hey, can you make everyone forget that I'm Peter, Spider-Man's Peter Parker? Now, when I was on I did hear someone saying that why didn't Peter just say, hey, can you make everyone forget that about Mysterio and what he said? And I can get that. I can get that criticism, because then that would save his entire trouble that he has to go through the rest of the movie. But at the same time, if he went through that, then the rest of the movie wouldn't have happened. So, realistically, yeah, I have to agree with that person. He could have said, hey, can you make people forget that Mysterio told them that Peter Parker is Spider-Man? Realistically and logically, that would have been the better choice. But as a fan perspective, I'm really happy that he didn't go that route. So I'm kind of caught in between, you know. I'm really happy. I'm really happy. So Doctor Strange agrees, but Peter keeps asking Doctor Strange questions, which makes Doctor Strange, excuse me, mess up. Essentially. And Doctor Strange tells Peter, you know, you could have easily went to the board to ask them to think about their case more. Peter doesn't know. Doctor Strange gets mad. So essentially, Peter, with the help of Flash Thompson, tracks the one of the heads of the college that he wants to go into with him, Ned, and MJ wants to go to, the college they want to go to. They saw one of the heads of that college on this highway. He pleads his case. Here's his shaking. People will start to run, and here comes Dr. Octopus. And when I saw that, even though he was shown in the theaters, I was like, yes! It is Alfred, I don't know his last name, reprised his role as Black Ock. I was, oh my god! Because you knew that from the trailers, Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, Electro, Sandman, the Lizard were going to be in there in the movie. Because they were shown at various different points of the movie. And so seeing Doc Ock again, and even referencing what did you do with my machine, like referencing Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2. It's like, oh my god, yes! And battle is fought. Peter essentially wins. The head of the college, or one of the heads of the college, says, "Yeah, you saved me. You're a hero. I'm going to tell the board about to reconsider you and your two friends, Peter Parker." And since he goes off, us seeing Green Goblin, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Even though I knew, like, the Green Goblin bomb, I said, "Oh shit, is he gonna die?" And she does that. I don't think she dies. And here's Green Goblin coming down. And I was like, oh my god, yes! Yes! We can see Green Goblin. And then we get put back to the Doctor Strange mansion. Where we see Dr. Octopus is in one of the cages now. And the lizard from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 lizard, Amazing Spider-Man 1 is in here. Like, the lizard from the first Amazing Spider-Man movie. And I enjoyed it. Like, before I get into anything, I was hoping that there would be a bit more of a fight between Peter, Dr. Octopus, and the Green Goblin. Sadly, we didn't get that. That would have been one thing I would have changed, is that we would have had at least a 10-second battle at the very least between Green Goblin attacking Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man before we get zapped to the mansion. That was the only part of, at least this part, I would have changed. And we kind of get hints that okay, Norman Osborn's dead. And then, later on, a little bit later, after some talking gets by, we see Peter Parker fighting Electro, and Sandman shows up. Electro is a Jamie Foxx version, pretty much a living pun to Amazing Spider-Man 2 now, and Sandman being a pun to Spider-Man 3, because it's the same actor. Sandman essentially helps Spider-Man sap Electro to Doctor Strange's lair. Sandman thinks that Spider-Man kills him, so Sandman turns against him. Which Peter also saps. Go back to the mansion. And then we see, like, Norman Osborn talk to the Green Goblin mask. And Norman Osborn destroys the mask of the Green Goblin. I was like, no, we won't be able to see the suit anymore. Or unless if it's going to be an awesome upgrade later. Which never happened. But I was hoping for that. But again, never happened. I was hoping we will see Norman Osborn in an upgraded Green Goblin suit. And we do see him in another Green Goblin suit, but it wasn't like what I thought, so I was kind of disappointed in that. But we essentially see him talking to Aunt May about how he fights, how the Goblin and him fights. So essentially, we get the 5 villains, I don't know why I did this, going back to the apartment. But there's this fight between Doctor Strange and Peter before they go back to the apartment, saying Doctor Strange want to kill, like, send them back, the villains back to their respective universes so they can essentially fulfill their prophecy. But Peter didn't want them to die, because they all die fighting Spider-Man. Even though the Lizard didn't die in Amazing Spider-Man 1, Sandman did not die in Spider-Man 3. So those two are safe. the other bad, the other guys from the uh, the bad guys from their respective universes, yeah, they were going to die. But Peter said, "No, I'm not going to let them go back to their universes, because if they do, they will die, and I do not want to have them die." So, essentially, there's this fight between Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. Spider-Man wins, and that's how they, Spider-Man, or Peter, and the, I guess you can kind of say the Sinister Five, comes back to the apartment of Happy's to cure them. I mean, Peter's successful in curing Dr. Octopus, because that inhibitor chip that was in the back of him that caused him to be evil in Spider-Man 2. Once Spider-Man was able to create a one that will work, Dr. Octopus then was quote unquote dead. And Dr. Otto Octavius officially returned. So, no more evil octopus dude. We see a good octopus dude. And then they also were going to go to Norman. Because they already started with Electro, and they were going to go with Norman. Turns out Norman was possessed by the Green Goblin, because we get this intense spider sense scene. And I like that. Like, me and my friends like that. Like, created that suspense, and then, pshoo! I think I did the spider thing right? Did I do the spider web thing right? Let me know. And he texts everyone. So the villains, there's this, like, little brawl going on. And, essentially, what happens is, Green Goblin kills Aunt May. And at first I thought it was going to be alright. But no, she dies. But not before she says, with great power comes great with responsibility. I was saying, no they didn't. No they didn't. They did not make Aunt May pull Uncle Ben here. They did not make Aunt May pull Uncle Ben here. And they fucking did. They made Aunt May pull a fucking Uncle Ben here. With great power comes great responsibility. Which I guess kind of makes sense. In a way, because they never had Uncle Ben in here. But it would have been cool to have Aunt May say, well, like your uncle always said. Like your Uncle Ben always said. With great power comes great responsibility. Literally making a nod to Uncle Ben without making her the Uncle Ben, I guess. But that's just me. But, and there's at some point in the movie, I forget if I passed it mentally or is yet to come, where they do make a nod to, Miles Morales Spider-Man. Which would have been great to see in this movie. I mean, they already had 3 Spider-Man coming up. Which, speaking of the 3, like, yeah, all those rumors about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield being in this movie, yeah, that was right. Because at Ned's apartment, we see Peter, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, coming out of the portal that Ned made, because he nicked one of Doctor Strange's magic portal things. So, like, they summoned Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, and everybody, including me, was saying, yeah! And then when we saw Tobey Maguire, like, a few minutes later, everyone was saying, yeah! Oh my god! And that was awesome. And the 2 Spider-Men kind of fought each other for like 5 seconds, which was cool. And then we see MJ and Ned hugging Peter. Because Peter just lost his Aunt May, so he's in mourning. And then MJ says, we got people here. Being the other two Peter Parkers. And the Tom Holland Spider-Man said, I just want to find the Green Goblin and kill him. The other two Spider-Man said, no, don't do that. And Andrew Spider-Man says, I lost my girlfriend. And I couldn't save her. And then Tobey Maguire says, I lost my uncle. I lost my uncle. I went after the guy that I thought was responsible for my uncle's killer. And I thought that would make me feel better. But they didn't. They didn't. So I did enjoy that scene because it was the other two, I guess Peter's covering, I guess you can say, our Peter. And then they all band together saying, okay, we need to come together and make cures for the villains. And Andrew Garfield said, well, I already made a cure for the listeners, so it won't be that hard. And I love how funny that scene was, because pretty much everyone was like, wait, what? Wait, what? And after Andrew said that, so I said, oh my god, that's funny. And I liked how they had the two Peter Parkers talking about their love lives. Andrew's Spider-Man talked about Gwen Stacy and her death, while the Tobey Spider-Man talked about his struggles with Mary Jane. And I do like how Ned, before this conversation took place, asked, so do you have any best friends? And Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man said, yeah, I had a best friend. He tried to kill me. Kind of turned crazy, and he died in my arms. Then Zed comes over, gives Tom Holland Spider-Man what he needs. And he looks awkward at him. And I so love that. I was sad that Andrew Garfield did that time, man, saying, yeah, I had that problem too. Because that would have made that scene funnier. And at that moment, I should say funnier. And it was great. And then we get to the Empire State Building, or not Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty, which so happens to have a shield. Go figures. So I guess in the MCU they gave Lady Liberty Captain America's shield, or the Liberty of America shield, or whatever. And the three Spider-Man reminisce about some of the villains they fought. And Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire both say, yeah, we fought aliens. And Andrew Garfield said, yeah, I didn't fight an alien. The worst villain I probably fought was a guy in a rhino exoskeleton. I'm kind of lame. And I do like how Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man kind of played the big brother role to the other two Spider-Man. Because he said, you're not lame. Can we roll back? You're not lame, other Peter, amazing Spider-Man. You're amazing. You're spectacular. Don't you ever forget that you're amazing. Don't you ever put yourself down. Okay? Okay. No arguments. Okay. Love you, bro. Love you. I love that. That was an awesome scene. And so essentially, after they reminisced a bit, that's when Electro comes, and we get this pretty, in my opinion, pretty cool battle between the three Spider-Mans and the bad guys. And there's this one part where MJ is falling, And I do believe this is like after their fight. I don't remember like the fight with the villains, with the exception of Green Goblin. I think this was when Green Goblin comes in. I can't remember exactly, but there's this one point where MJ is falling. Tom Holland tries to save her, but he can't get because he gets hit out of the way. Andrew Garfield, I guess his Spider-Man got triggered a bit. Like he remembered what happened to Gwen Stacy and said, "Oh, like pretty much, oh hell no, I'm not letting this happen." So Andrew Garfield saves MJ, and MJ says thank you, and we see that the Amazing Spider-Man nearly cried, pretty much remembering what happened to Gwen Stacy, and I so love that part. I so love that part because I just want to give that Spider-Man a hug, and we still see that Spider-Man. If we didn't get any hints before, that Spider-Man is still struggling, kind of, with what happened to Gwen, the love of his life, and that made him more human to me. Like the character Spider-Man, a bit more human to me than he was potentially before. So I like that. And before the whole Green Goblin fight, I do like how once they cured the guys, people, Spider-Man or Andrew Garfield goes to Electro saying, having this conversation about how Electro saying I'm a nobody, and Tobey Maguire said, I mean not Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield said you're not a nobody. And this is the first time where Electro sees Peter Parker's face. And then we also see I like that conversation. That was a really cool conversation. And then we see Otto Octavius and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man talk. And that was so heartfelt, like, because Doc Ock said, Peter, you got older. And Peter says, I'm just doing my best to be better. And I so love that. Oh, and how Doc Ock came into play. He fooled, I think it was, Electro, saying, I'll deal with them. And Electro said, get out of the way. So, Doc Ock uses one of his mechanical arms to blast onto Electro, gets the cure, and shoves it on his Electro's chest. And I was like, okay. I like that, because I thought Doc Ock was going to help the other villains kill the other Spider-Man, but no. I like that. So, going to this Green Goblin fight, Tom Holland and Green Goblin fights it out. Tom Holland was wanting to kill Green Goblin for killing Aunt May. Tobey Maguire stops Tom Holland. Green Goblin stabs Peter in the back, making people like me think that Peter Parker or Tobey Maguire was going to die, but no. And instead, he essentially gets injected with a cure. So, no more Green Goblin, now he's just Norman Osborn. And we see the universe breaking down. Tom Holland and Doctor Strange have a conversation, and Tom Holland says, I know people won't remember that I'm Spider-Man or I have any memories of me being in their lives. But can you make the world forget that I'm Spider-Man? Yes, thank you. So, we see 3 Spider-Men hug out and say, pretty much saying this was awesome, thank you. And we see Tom Holland saying goodbye to his pretty much best friend and his girlfriend. I'm promising them both that he will see them again and tell them. And then we essentially see Peter swinging away. We see Peter seeing bumping into MJ and his best friend again, but they don't remember him. He's about to tell MJ about the other life where she knew that he's Peter Parker and their adventures together in the from Spider-Man: Homecoming all the way to before the mind wipe, but he doesn't, and he doesn't tell Sid either. Guess he just wanted them to be happy, and I was kind of like, I get that, and I am in support of that, but at the same time, I was kind of sad we didn't see Mayor MJ or Ned knowing that, like, getting told that, hey, I was your best friend and boyfriend, and we had some awesome adventures together. That would have been awesome. But I understood. And then we get this, like, see Peter moving in. We see into this apartment. And then we get this awesome final swing part of this. And we get 2 after credit scenes. The first one is the Tom Hardy one. Tom Hardy as Venom. And as he gets as he gets teleported back to his own universe, we see a part of the symbiote getting left there in the MCU's version. So that's a hint. That's a clear hint that that there's a good chance of us seeing Venom in the universe, and who knows? Maybe we'll also see Carnage in the MCU. That'd be awesome. And then the second after credit scene was this like badass trailer, in my opinion, for the Doctor Strange movie, which looks awesome. And yeah, the sun's got me in mind, so sorry if you guys see me squinting. But yeah, this Spider-Man movie is amazing. I really enjoyed this Spider-Man movie. Like, yeah, the first, like, I gotta agree with, like, I think it was Ryan from Arcade Outpost who said that the first 30 minutes definitely seemed more of the MCU, but after that, it's like we go in and we get more of a tad bit more of a serious tone with a hint of like MCU humor here and there, because Sony's Disney, Marvel. Yeah, so I thought the movie was good. I nerded out when I saw like the 2 other Spider-Man. There isn't much for me to like really discuss. I love this movie. I would have potentially had the Miles Morales Spider-Man in here as well. It's teased. But at the same time, I've heard like Tom Holland is thinking about retiring from being Spider-Man. After being Spider-Man like in 3 Spider-Man movies, a Captain America movie, 2 Avengers movies, was like 5 right there. And I forget if Peter Parker was in any other movies in the MCU. So, who knows? Maybe Spider-Man 4 could have, or like the Tom Holland Spider-Man 4 could deal with like the death of Spider-Man. Maybe like have Peter Parker meeting Miles Morales. Somehow Miles Morales finding out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. We see Miles Morales getting bit by the spider, because I think that might be important. And sometime in the movie, have Peter Parker die. And by kind of like close towards the halfway point, so we can have like Peter Parker kind of training Spider-Man. I mean, Miles Morales, kind of how we saw that happen in the Into the Spider-Verse and the Miles Morales, I think in the Miles Morales game. I'm not entirely sure about the Miles Morales game because I haven't played that yet. But definitely in the Into the Spider-Verse, where we saw Peter Parker train Miles Morales a bit. So that would be cool to see that. And then like something happens where Peter Parker dies, forcing Miles Morales to take up the Spider-Man role officially. And maybe we could have like Black Suit Spider-Man for Peter Parker, then it hitting Eddie Brock, and maybe Eddie Brock kills Spider-Man, and hence makes more of an incentive of Miles Morales wanting to fight Eddie Brock to bring honor the memory of Peter Parker, and maybe in or in Spider-Man like 5 have it where Carnage comes to play. Who knows? If they decide to make a Spider-Man 5. That's how I would introduce Miles Morales into the Spider-Verse now. Since they didn't bring him into this movie, but they made a nod, not so subtle nod to the movie. I mean, to those characters. So that's really my thoughts about the whole into the in No Way Home. I think it's a good movie. I so want to see it again. I do think this is a movie that's worth watching. Regardless if you guys are an MCU fan or just a Spider-Man fan. I think this movie is worth watching. I think it pays respect to the old while still sprinkling the new in there. I think it definitely gives respect to what came before. Like in like Spider-Man, like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man trilogy and the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I think it definitely pays respect to both universes, and I do hope that hopefully we'll get a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey as well, because I've heard originally the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was supposed to get 6 movies. So maybe I'm hoping Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man will get a 4th movie, maybe as an official conclusion to this movie. But I want to be butthurt if we don't get that, because Tobey Maguire is in his 40s, and at this point, Tobey Maguire has been Spider-Man 4 times. So like if he decides not to want to do another Spider-Man movie, hey, I'm not going to feel butthurt, really, because he deserves it, especially after this performance in this movie. I believe that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield definitely deserve to be Spider-Man one last time at the very least. After their next movies being canceled. And I'm so glad that they got to be Spider-Man at least for one last time. For sure. But, yeah, like I said, I really do enjoy this movie. I think this movie does a good job of respecting the old, and while at the same time introducing some new. And I'm excited. This definitely gets me excited to see what they have in store for Spider-Man assuming that they have a Spider-Man 4. Because this movie was good. This movie was really, really, really good, and I am so happy that I got to see it. Thursday, in fact. And I'm so happy that I got to see it. And it's definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. It's definitely better than the Marvel movies that have come out this year. So this Spider-Man movie is my favorite Marvel movie of 2021. For sure. Guess we got like Shang-Chi and Black Widow and Eternals. This Spider-Man movie is the best out of those 4. Then comes Black Widow. Trying to think if I have anything else to say. Yes, I don't. But like I said, this movie is great. I think this movie is worth a watch for sure. And I can't see the potential of it hitting $1 billion in the box office, regardless of if we're living in a pandemic or not. I still think that this can be hitting $1 billion. And if that happens, everybody who says this movie can't hit it $1 million because of the pandemic we're in, or use that excuse because of the other Marvel movies didn't make it that much. This will, like, if this Spider-Man movie makes that much, that will be like a massive middle finger to everyone who doubted this movie's ability to do that. Massive middle finger. But I enjoyed it. I loved it. I highly recommend you guys seeing it. If you guys somehow didn't see it and didn't care about getting spoiled, I highly recommend you guys seeing it, because words alone can only do so much. Seeing it for yourselves is way more exciting. I want to see it again, for sure. It's definitely worth the watch. So what do you like? If you guys seen the movie, I'm assuming that at least a good majority of you guys who watched this video has seen the movie. At least a good majority. For those of you who have seen the movie, what do you guys think about this movie? Do you guys like it, dislike it, or any about it? Let me know in the comments, wherever the comment section is. And I'll catch you guys later. Love you guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. Support each other. Give each other love. And I think I'm going to shut up so I can let my cat sleep now. So, love you guys and have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. See you guys in the next video or live stream.